Welcome to Wolves After Dark. Sorry, I did a millennial pause. I really apologize about that. However, I am unfortunately a millennial.
Pause.
Timberwolves lose to the Magic. Who's surprised? Raise your hand. If you're new here or if you're not new here, like the stream, subscribe to the channel. We've already reached 1,000, but we've already got more goals. We don't give up late like the Timberwolves do. So let's talk about it. We'll get to the tier list in a little bit. We're going to talk initial reactions right away, and then, maybe dabble in some. We've already kind of talked a little bit about trades, so I don't know how much more we have to talk about trades. But if anybody has any ideas, feel free to let us know in the comments. Ashwin, how are you feeling after our loss to the Magic?
Congratulations to Anthony Edwards, Carl Anthony Towns, and the whole coaching staff of To Be Determined Later. Could have been the Minnesota Timberwolves headlining the All-Star game, at least helming it at the coach, but not tonight. Okay, Orlando had some other plans, other things to say. So did we. We kind of shot ourselves in the foot all throughout the entire fourth quarter, and we built a 17-point lead in the second quarter just to start doing cat step back threes and fadeaways from the bottom of the stanchion. So I don't feel great, but I'm not like stressed about a loss like this. But it just kind of had a lot of meaning after getting kind of the nod and the nomination to All-Star to just like play up. We just saw last night Jalen Brunson with a very emotional, impactful game for the Knicks, his first All-Star game. And, Tyrese Maxey, first All-Star game. The 76ers are in a disarray with Embiid out for months, probably, or at least several weeks. And Maxey pops off for 51 in a very like emotionally ridden game too. We had the day off, whatever. I had some weird feelings, weird vibes going into this game tonight. I was really excited to see what we would do coming off, Conley coming back as well, and we played sweet. That first quarter was awesome. That first quarter made me feel very relaxed. Like, we're going to just take care of business. We're a bigger team, stronger team, potentially the better team. And then, I don't know, something happened in the second quarter where we just started to relax. And I don't think we really recovered after relaxing. And I think that's just really sad, very embarrassing, very people have been saying immature a lot. That's like the theme of this year. But like, it's just non-structured. There's like no like structure here. Let's take care of it. Like at any given day we could lose, and we should be prepared to lose like this so that we can be prepared so we don't lose like this, right?
Yeah. Crone with a good comment. This outcome is how I thought the first matchup would have been in Orlando. Yes, I agree. I thought the first game against Orlando this year was just going to be a definite loss. I just feel like Orlando has our number and has for years. Maybe that's wrong. I don't know what the actual stats
They're
are.
full of like 6'10" dudes, right? And they're not a bad team. We were talking right before the show. They're a great team, but they're like second year, third year, fourth year players only, right? Yep. And like Joe Ingles is off an ACL. Like there's a whole lot of white on that team, and a whole lot of it, like, just they're green right now. They don't know 100% how to perform in the NBA at the top level, but they're getting there, and it's crazy. It's really remarkable, but it shouldn't be like on us to like stress about the game. We should take care of business, like all great teams should.
Yeah, and I'm going to share my screen here. But this is the flow of the game. How do we stop this from happening? And I think it's what you said. I think we need to care. It's like we don't care. And we get a lead early and we're kind of like, oh yeah, this is what we expected. And then we let it up. And then it's like, it's basically over from there. And there's been so many games recently, especially the ones that we've lost. I know we haven't lost that many recently, but we see a lot of this at the end here where we get, or this exact flow, if not even better than this, where we're onto the Timberwolves side for the whole way, and then the very last minute or 5 minutes or whatever, it's the other team. So this is just like ridiculous. And also having the biggest lead, having 17-point lead. This is shades of Wolves past, losing leads. I am sick of that. I do not want that. And I have 100% agree with exactly the comment you just highlighted. Ant is hurt. And they aren't talking about it. We've talked about this for weeks. His knee and that issue that he has, which I don't remember the name of it, but he has some issue in his knees that is been bothering him for weeks now. And tonight was even worse. I know he left for a short amount of time for the game with the injury, but like this was this was the worst of it, and he needs to rest. And this is why I almost don't even want him to play All-Star. One, because I don't think he's going to do anything spectacular in All-Star. I don't think he really cares that much. And two, he just actually needs time. We need time to rest our guys that are hurt. Like Ant's hurt. Let's just maybe keep him out the rest of the game. Like, I don't know. Why bring him back in? I know he was like okay late and hit some shots, but like in general, he looked pretty bad tonight. So I think, like Rudy was questionable coming in the game. Maybe we could just rest him. Ant gets hurt mid-game. Maybe we could just keep him out the rest of the game. This is good. You want to win all the games, and you want to win games like to get Chris Finch into the All-Star game or whatever, which I personally am like not really caring about, I guess. But
Yeah.
It's like every other team is resting against you. Like we've had, what was the talk in the beginning of the season? We haven't beat a team at full strength. Like you can occasionally rest the guys. You don't have to play them every single game. So I don't know. That's my takeaway is like maturity, Ants hurt, rest the guys when they need it.
Orlando out-rebounded us, out-hustled us. They played a team-composed game. You can see in the box score they have several people in double figures. For a large portion of the game, we really just had Cat and Gobert in double figures and a spread of offense with Nas and Jaden and a healthy assist total from Conley to get us all kind of juiced and going on the first quarter, especially. The extra pass was great. The ball movement was like electric, and I felt it. Like I felt like it from way out here in the West Coast. Like the ball is moving, the ball goes in hoop. Gobert is getting involved without any decision space. Right, it's really good. Cat was playing well, I thought, in the first quarter too. And then things got really ugly. Things got kind of flatlined. We got silly and lazy and creative with how we wanted to even score in the second quarter. And then we started to get completely bamboozled. Like transition was like embarrassingly and not in our favor. The 3-point line, we couldn't make a shot, and we were forcing the ball with Ant in his hands, and he wanted to ISO, and then he was like reluctantly passing when he should be shooting. It's like he doesn't understand the flow, and I think there's some questions, for the coaching staff to get through with Ant, to get through with Cat. Cat, I was watching him flat-footed for like the entire fucking fourth quarter, like not wanting to get open, not wanting to get the ball into his hands. And when he did, he wasn't like doing normal Cat things. He was doing a little bit extra, and I was really frustrated with what I saw there. But hats off, tip the cap off to Orlando for taking care of business in a away game. They were on they were on a road trip themselves, took care of it, and just looking like we scored 5 points in the fourth quarter with like 6 minutes to go, and Ant comes in and he starts chucking. It's like luckily he made his first bucket, but then he started just like that's all he wanted to do. It's like
just insane ISO ball too. Like it's like DeChuck said this, by the way. Oh my gosh, what words? Shout out Crone, another 5 gifted. Thank you. It's like a daily thing. You're too crazy. I appreciate it, and everybody else that's getting memberships probably appreciates this also. DeChuck, is nobody telling Ant to stop playing Hero Ball? Honestly, I don't know anymore. I don't really know what is like the conversations happening, because there are times when Ant, just like is totally passive and just letting everybody else kind of do everything. And then there's times where Ant takes it too much into his own hands, where it's like he's just chucking and fadeaways. And like tonight, he literally had like a 20-second ISO and then passes it out to Na, and it gets deflected and is a turnover. It's like that is like, so that's as bad as like Towns's like, weird like step back 3 thing that he did. Although Towns's step back 3 might have been better because it happened early in the shot clock. It's just like, these are just costly possessions. And yeah, it's just, there's so many mistakes that we're seeing. And like, we've been lucky to be winning like 7 of our last 10 games or whatever. But like, I think we're all seeing the mistakes now. We're all seeing plenty of mistakes.
we saw that 17-point lead slip away, and we only really sustained it for the moments we did because of Baby Mac and his hustle, and his 3-point shot was going in. We had nothing going in the second quarter, and it was really sad. If you look at the shot chart, it's all green in the first quarter. That's a tribute to the ball moving. That's a tribute to getting easy shots. The hardest shot was an Ant mid range, like kind of fade away, and like he was kind of stepping back to take that shot, and he was like, that's used to be his like bread and butter for a large portion of the beginning of the season when he was doing the bank shots, but he's kind of stepped
Yeah.
away from the bank shots.
Yeah.
And if you look at the shot chart, it was green because it was all in the paint with Rudy, and we had a lot of people taking threes and making them, and that was great to see. At least by percentage, that's how we should be structuring our offense. We were also playing bigger and bolder than them, meaning we were having wide shoulders, boxing out for rebounds, gang rebounding. That's great. That's what we need to do. We got in the bonus early. We got to the free throw line. Maybe not as much as we need to, but it started to set the tone, right? And then I think, we get to the line 8 times in the first quarter. That's great. That's like a healthy amount. And we don't do that for the rest of the game. We get away from that. And the second quarter was a lot of laziness, a lot of turnovers that were just like, oh, we have a 13-point lead. We have a cushion. Let's get stupid, And it's just embarrassing. And there's reasons why post-game shows like ours, we get hype for the moments that are hype worthy. We get
Yeah.
really elated and excited and wishful for the future. But then it's like games like this, motherfucking quarters like the fourth quarter, where you're just like, yeah,
Yeah.
there's truth to the madness. There's truth to why, Mike Markel Fultz can set a screen on Cat and he falls down. It's like there's reasons why,
Yeah.
like, we just can't get any momentum going for this team. And there's maybe parts of it it's at the top. Maybe there's some Finch issues. Maybe there's some, DNA of the structure of this team. But like, it's amazing to say, despite all of that, Cat gets the All-Star nod, right? It was just a little bit of a questionable All-Star nod, in my opinion. There's a lot of other respectable players that didn't get in, but I thought Cat probably was deserving. I thought Gobert was more deserving.
Gobert is
Personally,
maybe more deserving than both of them.
I actually agree.
Like,
I
yeah,
agree.
it's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. And Gobert is probably not like All-Star like watchable, but like at least he should get the nod. And it was very clearly on Cat's mind in that interview, at least. But yeah, I just think that I don't know, man. I want the All-Star break so then I can see a practice or two happen, right? Like we get something back and we get some time to watch our film and study and see like, hey, can we grow from these mistakes? Because these are all internal, nothing external. There's no ref with their whistle that's making us like suck. It's them. It's themselves and only. And it's Ed Malloy, no, I don't even know the rest names at the moment. Just we'll save us, And we were getting a favorable whistle. Honestly, we were getting a great whistle tonight, for the most part.
Yeah, I think so. To bring up a comment from Xavier, just a different perspective, and I'm going to ask a different perspective question here as well. Bird's eye view: we lost by 2 against a team that very clearly outplayed us for 3 quarters in early February. I think that's a good sign. On top of that, we've been playing ugly and winning mostly. We have been playing ugly and winning, and I do think that is a good sign. This is the optimistic fan that is not in me, by the way. This is not me. I just can hear these comments. We've been playing really well, winning ugly games. We are in the middle of the season where people just don't care. Is it okay that we've lost a couple here? Is it okay that we're having some concerning things? Or are these things that we're seeing right now things that we think are going to come back in the playoffs or deep? Like, do you think we're going to turn it on for the playoffs? Or do you think these are like things that we need to be worried about long term?
Is it okay that we stop caring? Is it okay that we have absolutely everything to play for and we like don't care about it? Like,
no.
I think to win is a cultural like shift. To keep winning is a momentum building, fan endorsing shift. Oh, now we're at the top, and now the stands are full to the brim, standing room only. We get like so much hype from national media. Can we stay at the top? Can we prove to ourselves that every inch of this is meaningful. Building habits. Have we built any? With games like this, I'm not convinced.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
might sound
early in
really
this,
negative and critical, but like
yeah,
that's where I'm at right now.
early in the season, there were moments where I saw our ability to win games, and even tough games, even games maybe like this where we can kind of pull it out at the end. But now, over the last, I know we haven't lost that many games, and like although January, I think January was a 500 month for us. I could be wrong, but it's like it's I'm more on the side of what you were just saying. Like I think that these things like the caring, the like when you have something to play for and not winning, that especially is like a huge red flag because you do have something to play for, or at least you claimed to have something to play for that you cared about. Like Ant's talking about, oh yeah, I want to get Finch in the All-Star game. Either he's full of shit
Mm.
or they cannot compete when it matters most. It's one of those two things. I certainly hope that it's the first thing I said and that he actually does not care at all about Finch being in the All-Star game because if we can't win when we want to, then then we're as good. Then we are not capable of being a one seed. I mean, maybe we can continue to be a one seed if we're lucky, but like a one seed in the playoffs where you expect them to go very deep, like that sounds like a one and done kind of a thing. So
I I dare to say the stat line out loud. Uh, 24 assists in total for the game, and 17 in the first half.
wow. I mean, it looked like that. The second half, there was nothing happening. Like there was nothing. It's really gross. Also, the rebounding totals are it's way off. It's just I don't know. There's a lot of grossness about this game. And of course, you never want to get too down about one game because yes, I can't remember who said it either in the Discord or in the chat here. Shout out to the Discord. You're allowed to lose games. Not every team wins every game. I mean, like Boston is the first place team, and they've won some kind of bad game or they've lost some pretty bad games this year. Like they even just lost to the Lakers without LeBron or AD. Like that's concerning, but they're also first place. So you have games like this, and I'm sure that the players will say it's important to have like mental break games,
Mhm.
where you maybe aren't giving 100%. I just think that there's been a little bit too much letting off the pedal over the last month to be like
Absolutely.
feeling comfy right now. Like I don't feel comfy right now.
Yeah, me as a fan as well. I agree. I feel like tonight sometimes the box score kind of like doesn't tell the full truth, doesn't tell absolutely everything. I think tonight is a great indicator of that. We had an excellent output from Conley in the first quarter where he was distributing the rock and scored nothing. It felt like he was just spry. He was 27 years old, and then the rest of the game happened, and he was absolutely unplayable. It felt like Cole Anthony Suggs was completely getting him out of his comfort zone. Suggs had multiple, like steal, fast break type opportunities. Ant looked like a shell of himself. It looked like he was clearly hobbled all game. The box score completely reflects that. He wasn't engaged in that first quarter when we played terrifically. We played really well, but he wasn't engaged. And it only like took him he was like very forceful in his efforts to get anything going in the second and fourth quarter only, really. You look at the box score and you're seeing, oh man, Towns played really well in terms of like efficiency and everything. And then you're like, oh, but 19 points, 6 assists. I mean, sorry, 19 points, 6 turnovers, 3 rebounds. Like, oh, is that a big man? Is that your all star? Is that like, guy who's cooking, not shooting threes, not taking as many threes as we need? It's just very concerning. And it's just habit forming. Like, I want and I expect and if I'm like a Boston fan, I know what I'm expecting out of most of my players right now. Like they've built this culture and they've built this like team that's playing I don't know, like the style of basketball that is very like legible and like repeatable. And I feel like we're every game for the Timberwolves, it almost doesn't matter who the competition is. I kind of don't know what I'm getting. Like
Yeah.
I think the defense has been amazing. The defensive identity has been so forthright in terms of what we've been building. That's amazing. That's great as a cultural like stamp. But like offensively, man, we're tanking in the standings. We're tanking in the rankings of like who we are, and you would have never guessed, dude. Gun to my head, it would have been we're probably a top 5 offensive team with Cat and Ant. Really, we should be, and we're a bottom
It's
5
yeah.
offensive team right now. That's actually saying a lot. We're a bottom 5, bottom 8, offensive team, and we're at the top of the standings. Like it's so much crazy. It's
Yeah.
like, and to Xavier's point, like there's a lot to still like be excited for, despite the fact
Yeah.
that we are like
There
playing like
is.
this.
Yeah.
But I'm just like
The
I'm not like
I will say there is a tiny, tiny bit of optimism, or maybe what is the word? Like foolishness or foolish hope that
yeah,
like come like end of March, early April, when the end of the season is happening, we might just turn it on and be like really good, like we were in the very beginning of the season again. Impactful on defense. Ants like 100%. Hopefully, we have everything kind of clicking. Maybe, but I don't like that being the way it is. I want it to be consistent. But to Xavier's point, the season is ups and downs, and we are, I hope, at a down right now. Because if this is the worst of the regular season, then that's if we have the hindsight of being at the end of the season and being like, oh, you remember when we were in January and early February and we like mess around for like a couple weeks and like only played like 500 or something like that, and that's the worst of the season, that's probably okay. But there is no guarantee that at the end of the season, one, you're healthy, two, that you have that drive because you hypothetically are tired from playing the entire season. So it's concerning. There's a lot of things that I'm concerned with, but yeah. So, and the West is, I mean, the top 4 in the West are all basically tied right now. We're tied with OKC, and then there's the Clippers and the Nuggets
Denver,
right behind
correct.
with one game behind us. So, luckily, the one thing that has happened recently, don't want to get too deep into the worrying about standings and stuff like that, is that the top 4 in the West have a pretty relatively comfy lead, because they're 5th place is the Kings and they're 5 games back. So it's really, I mean, like there's 5 games is a big difference. But yeah, wait, Noah, are you serious? What are you talking about?
Carlos Santana.
I know nothing about baseball, so this is like, that means nothing to me. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's like, so the Kings are 5 games back, the Suns are 6 games, the Pelicans are 6 games, and then 8th place, the Mavs, they're in 7.5 games back. So like realistically, there's a decent amount of it, but yeah,
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting take. It's kind of probably contrary to what I have been kind of talking about for the most part. But at least defensively, we've been consistent. Yeah, I agree with that. And actually,
that
Xavier,
is
I'm
true.
sorry, I haven't really been following the Celtics as of late, but I do know that at the top, that's where they are, and they've been. At least I can kind of rest assured, like that Tatum and Brown, I know what I'm getting from them on any given night. All right, I'm
You
moving on
know,
from that point.
yeah, funny enough, because I don't really watch anything about the Celtics either, but I did see the box score, and it made me feel a lot better because Jalen Brown only had like 8 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists in that Lakers game, and I was like, oh, so that's kind of like what Ant did the other day, but I think it's worse. I don't know. Anyways, I don't watch them either, so I don't want to get too deep into it. But you want to do tier list?
I think so. Yeah. Sorry for um, dragging the moon down a little bit. That's not necessarily why I'm here, but sometimes I need to temper my excitement and expectations, and it comes out in a show like this after a loss like that. I was really, dude. I don't know what was our record. We were 30-10, 30-11. We're like 20 games above 500, and I was over the moon. And like even January, a couple blips, where we lose against teams that we weren't supposed to. You got to like close the computer, go outside, and be like, dude, we're so far above expectations. We're
We are,
getting
yeah.
we're getting all-star nods. We're getting potentially first round home court series. However, it's just I don't know if that's good enough. I feel like there's some weird air about just being complacent and just being like, ooh, we're building something. I feel like we're trying to build a lot in a really short amount of time. And I think that is scary. And I also think that's exciting from a fan's point of view to be like, hey, we have these win now players for a window that might happen later. And like with the Jaden and the Ant and the Nas that come into their prime later, they have so much to learn, man. What is what that foul at the end of the game? What is what this ISO crap from Ant? Throughout the whole game. If he's not involved, he's not involved. And when he has the ball, he wants to only ISO. It's like there's got to be something that clicks sooner than later. Otherwise, this team might just see one round in the playoffs.
Yeah, momentum can go both ways, unfortunately. So, and I think that's what we're kind of worried about. But and it's because it's not like this is the first game that we've noticed Ant ISO's too long, or like Cat does too much voltage, or
Mhm.
things like that. Like these are
Yeah,
trends. So
yeah, great point, Xavier. Tatum and Brown aren't the best playmakers, but they are better with the ball in their hands, and they've done it longer, and they've seen more like kind of attention than I guess Cat and Ant has ever had, and they've done it pretty
yeah,
well. But they also have had a Derek White, they've had a Drew Holiday, they've had all these other players to back them up and play
they get a
as a
lot.
second fiddle to them. And we have Conley for the first time in our history. We have like a exceptional, not a history, sorry, first time in a while we've had this exceptional point guard, right?
Hmm.
And showing his age, showing his colors lately, and yeah, it just really makes you think about like what do we need? We need a lot of everything. We really do.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Jason Tatum made 3 Eastern Conference Finals by the time he was 23. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
that's about as much as we need to say about that.
that's
I don't want
insane.
to. I don't. I feel like ooh, I'm negative. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to be negative, but like we're not the Celtics. We're not the Celtics now or later. Like current Celtics, we need to get to that level. I really do strongly believe that, and I don't know if that's going to happen. And maybe that's a laughable take, but like I want to get to that Celtics level. Like where I feel like they are getting to the conference finals. They are a qualified, bona fide, team that will just get there. It'll
Mhm.
be ridiculously upsetting if they don't get there.
Yeah. Well, we'll jump into the tier list. Um, Tier list. So for those of you who are new, I think every name I've seen so far has been somebody here before. But in case you're watching the VOD, A1 is an unforgettably good game. You're going to tell your children's children about it someday. Wancho is a terrible game. Glenn Taylor is beneath Wancho, meaning multiple bad games in a row. We hate you. Please go away. And everything else, I changed C to expected. By the way, again, I forgot that we did that forever ago.
Yeah,
It's
that's good.
sort of accurate. It's sort of not. I almost want to change it to be like this is what I'm going to change it to. Meh. Like I
Ooh, I
think
love that.
meh is like kind of what we're thinking because that can kind of give us an out when we're grading for players that we don't care about, and two, there are players that just have meh games. And like that way, in case there is a good performance by somebody that is maybe closer to average, we can give them a B and it doesn't feel so bad. So, um, we're gonna keep it at meh for now. But yes, welcome Disco Wolf. Welcome back. The only A is slow mo. Well, let's get into it. Who's first?
I've been kind of like I was really bullish on our bench coming into the season, and we've kind of been seeing a lot of ebbs and flows with our bench tonight. We've seen a lot of great things. I think this is, if anything's a positive, it's our bench play tonight.
Mhm.
I thought was great, even though maybe like moments they kind of let up some of the lead. I thought for the most part, most of the bench, if not all of the bench, played up to the level, beyond meh level tonight. But we might not see them in the grade at that level. Nas Reed,
Yeah.
22 minutes, 9 points, 5 rebounds. We expect more, honestly, but I don't think he was given enough kind of like rope. Honestly, like he was 4 for 5 from the floor. Like that's amazing. When he comes in, he's an instant bucket. Like that's like what I expect out of any 6 man of the year candidate to get. And I just,
Mhm.
honestly, like I don't know if it's meh or below, but like I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from Nas, like bursting out of like his like funk where he was only really scoring 5 points for like 3, 4 games straight.
Yeah, he did have a funk, and it was kind of scary because it's like, oh man, we just gave you a big extension, and it's like we can't, like the Timberwolves can't afford to pay a lot of money for somebody in an extension and not have it pay out like
Hmm.
maybe even better than you would expect. So yeah, it was nerve wracking. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of leaning towards meh because like I guess I would have liked to have him have some more shots tonight since he was on tonight. I mean, he was 4 or 5, but Yeah, I don't know. I think it's meh. What does Eric say? See, for now, it's too many fumbled. Yeah.
uh, Nikhil Alexander Walker, 27 minutes, 2 for 7 for the floor, but that does not justify his impact. I thought he was remarkably um, awesome on D. He stopped the guy with the ball most often. If it wasn't in transition, Nikhil was stopping his man. And I also think that he shows his age while Conley also shows his age. Nikhil Alexander Walker is energy. It's high energy. It's an absolute um, like complete opposite of what Conley does on the court, and in the best ways, I think. And even though he only has like 7 points and a couple, no assists or whatever, I thought his impact was phenomenal. And I want to give him a B, but like his stats aren't like showing up. So like you
Yeah.
can put him wherever you want. But I thought he rose to the occasion at least tonight.
I agree with you with the energy part of it, but I think, it's just so frustrating because he does have so much energy and he's such a good asset for us out there. And I don't mean trade wise, I mean like on the floor. I mean he is trade wise probably too. But um he if he would have just made if he would have just made some shots, I'd be all over this. I'd be like B, maybe even A. But he didn't make shots. So that makes me kind of go in between B and meh. Since I'm tied, and we lost, I think I'm gonna go down to meh.
Exactly. Baby Mac, only 5 minutes, 6 points, an assist, 2 steals. Like that's perfect. 2 for 3 from three.
That's
That's perfect.
yeah. Yeah, why did he not play more?
I really don't know. I wish I saw more, but I don't even know if it's enough to grade him. But I'm going to give him a B.
Yeah, I think a B is like that's really good performance for 5 minutes. Like that, if you score more points than you played, that's probably good.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like I was really excited about what I was seeing from Finch early in the game, or how he was kind of managing the rotation. But then like he didn't pull it back, Jordan McLaughlin back in. What was going on in that fourth quarter where we couldn't get a bucket? At least someone could have been a spark plug, but we didn't really try anything. We just went to you know, we were an old team in the fourth quarter, just getting completely hustled, right? And so maybe Matt could have potentially provided a spark. Anyway, slow mo. Speaking of an old man game.
Conspiracy theory. One quick conspiracy theory. Maybe Finch doesn't want to coach the All-Star game, so he lost it. So he's like, wait. J-Mac, he's making way too many shots right now. Like, let's stay down. You're not playing.
Oh
But
man, Gobert
and
said something wise and
yeah,
sage in his interview pregame where he was like, maybe it's a blessing in disguise I didn't get an All Star because I just get to take a week off.
yeah.
For a second half push, I'm kind of leaning that way too, honestly.
Yeah,
I really hope
seriously.
that Ant doesn't play a whole lot in the All Star weekend. Like,
I don't
just
think he
rest up.
will.
Just rest up.
I,
Don't be crazy.
when in the Rising Stars games and in the All-Star game that he was called up as like an injury reserve replacement or whatever, he was nothing like I don't know. I well actually in the injury in the All-Star game I think he was okay, but I think what am I thinking of? I'm thinking of the Rising Stars game. He did like literally nothing. Um
Yeah.
and that was like I don't know, it just kind of showed me that it's like he doesn't care. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Okay, cool. Slow mo. Just wanted to read off the stats if we care. Truly, I don't know. 16 minutes, 7 points, 4 assists. He hit a three that is a worthy alone, but 4 assists, and he was a team high +10 from a plus and minus standpoint. Honestly, if you watch this game back, this was a great slow mo game. I thought
yeah,
he
I
was
was gonna
playing his
say
role really well, and I was also really excited that Finch was not putting him in because I thought he was gonna like be awful, and he was the opposite of awful. He was great. He
he
held
was.
Banchero in check as much as he could, and I
Yeah.
I was really thrilled with the game, even though he didn't really wow me with anything tonight. He was great.
Yeah.
So this is like a B for me.
I'm totally in agreement. I thought this was a pretty good Kyle game. Quick rapid fire question. Are you leaning more if we had a like if we could get a Tyus Jones or a good shooter like a Kennard or somebody, are you leaning more towards trade Kyle or not trade Kyle?
I don't know. Okay, let's this is a long-winded question that we're trying to kind of evolve the conversation about like who could we get as fills for our gaps in our team. We've been watching building chemistry, building culture at the forefront with defense as our identity. That's slow mo, right? That's slow mo as part of the identity. To say, I want shooting, I want a playmaker,
Mhm.
I want big bodies. on the court and like play a role that is like defiantly theirs. Slow mo kind of does a whole lot of everything, which is great to have like a Swiss Army knife. But like, yeah, I want shooting more than anything. I want shooting. So to see slow mo hit a three, that's amazing. Keep doing it.
Yeah. I I agree. Also, listening to Tim Connolly on the radio today before the game, it seemed he was giving some kind of hints, I think, where he was saying like basically like there's teams where we could make a move, but then you have to think about how that affects your top 8 guys and like how does that affect the locker room. And to me, I was like, "Yep, he's talking about Kyle. They're not
Yep.
trading Kyle." Like
Yep.
it just like to me that was exactly what it was. Also, he kind of hinted at some other things that made me think they might have been interested in Jordan Clarkson kind of more seriously because he's like, the play-in kind of ruins things for us because you've got some of these teams down here that normally would not be in the playoffs but are able to fight for the playoffs and like Utah, for example, they're like 24 and 25 and in 10th place or something like that. So that made me think that. And then he also mentioned specifically, like, you're trying to get guys that average 5 points a game. And I was like, I mean, he might be talking about Monte Morris. I don't know. Anyways, some little hints in there. If there's like a replay of that K-Fan interview, I tell everybody, go listen to it because that's actually like, it's pretty insightful. He doesn't give like any great answers on anything, but like if you can read a little bit between the lines, it's good. But
That's cool.
anyways,
It's great to say all those things, and it's just has to produce on the court, right? So we have all this chemistry, we have all these good vibes. We're seeing Cat smile in every interview, apparently, and it just really like let's have that translate on the fucking court, man. Like let's
yeah.
just completely take over
Yeah.
teams and dominate teams and win by the amounts that we can. And it is great to be great, but then you have to own up to it, right? It really is like
Mhm.
take care of business and I don't know, man. We can't have these close games. We really can't. It's fun to have these energetic, stressful games from a fan point of view because it's like exciting throughout the whole game. But it's also just like let's just take care of business and be complacent with absolutely kicking people's ass.
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay, got through the bench and question from We to Ones, Jack. Don't forget to like, share. I don't know what else you guys have to do. Follow
Yeah,
us on TikTok because apparently we're growing there at a rapid pace.
we're growing big.
Big, big, and apparently they want to do landscape videos now. So maybe this can be that in the future. Who has a lower BBIQ? Not barbecue chicken, but BBIQ. Ant, cat, or McDaniel's? And can I say yes? Is that an answer?
Yeah,
We
I
don't want
know. It's like seriously, it's so bad. I think JJ kind of said it right. Kinda. I mean, like Jaden, that foul at the end of the game, and just typically Jaden end of game situations seem to be very bad. Like he's punching walls. he's like that play at the end, the foul. It was like if they were really being nitpicky about it, they could have maybe called like a take foul because he doesn't go for the ball at all. Like this is it. It's just bad. And then Ant with his ISO and just like inability to like see Rudy rolling, or if he does see him rolling, he's just not doing it. Like he's never going to give the ball to him. And then Cat, we've talked about Cat forever. I mean, he's talking shit to Isaac or whatever, and then immediately does it. One does a step back air ball three, and then on the next play gets blocked by Isaac. Like,
to.
please, these players. Yeah, your answer is right. Yes, I mean they are all. It's bad.
You got to believe it in here to
They
believe
all,
it in
yeah,
here.
they switch spots. It's a rotating like a door here where everybody has their turn at being the lowest IQ player, and then don't worry, it'll come back around because they're coming back.
It's a Venn diagram of all three. It's okay. It's our team. We love them so much, Maximal, as we pretty much did. Um, Noah was talking about how Slow-Mo's a grandpa, or no, Slow-Mo's clinically blind, and which is actually true, I think. And Mike Conley's a grandpa, which is I think he might be. And that's a dumb joke, but as I'm older than him, which is fucking sad. Conley, 28 minutes, 4 points, 9 assists, 3 steals. 1 for 6 from three. That's his only bucket. And after his only bucket, he was he was worthless. He was a bucket would have been more useful than him out there, honestly. His first quarter was great. +9 on the plus minus chart. He had 5 assists, got the team going, got a lot of lobs in action with Gobert, where Gobert could only dunk. Right? That was amazing.
Yes.
To have him do anything other than that it was like so what I thought this team was about in that first quarter.
Yeah. When we acquired Rudy, I was like, this is exactly what I want to have happen every single game.
Right. Ooh. I hope he's injured and we're like forcing it right now because like I don't want him to be injured. I'm saying
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I hope he's hobbled and he needs this time off and we're giving him that time off to rest and recover because we need him for a second half push more than anything. But like he can't have games like this. I don't know. Like a false Cole Anthony like combo is not anything to be like worried about, but apparently it is. And Conley was played off the court, man. Like he was so slow compared to those guys. I want to give him a Wancho, and I feel terrible about it.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, 1 of 9 is
probably
pain. Yeah, I guess I'm leaning more towards like a D'Lo or I mean, I don't know. D'Lo maybe even maybe I'm just being too nice, but I think. Oh, really? Okay, good. I'm sort of there because I mean he had some really nice steals and some really high effort plays. I think it was the third quarter, maybe it was the fourth quarter, but I think he had some high effort plays at times. But JJ,
it's a crazy conversation in the chat, man.
I love it.
Sorry, I'm not a part of it, really.
I live for this. This is awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm in between a meh and a D'Lo, and I guess since I did this earlier to I think Nas or Nah or somebody, we might just go down one. Star sick sick of the fourth quarter meltdowns. Enough is enough. We are starting a petition. We are going to stand outside of Target Center with our
no more
pitchforks.
Meltdowns.
Yeah. Somebody generated Chat GPT image of people protesting outside of Target Center.
I wonder if we get through, if we could like stop the light rail for half an hour.
Yeah.
These guys came from Seattle.
Yeah. Okay, Chat has
Godfrey
spoken.
agrees.
Yeah, I was gonna say if Godfrey is the point guard expert here, so I kind of take what Godfrey says, and I'm okay with that. But
he wants Brogdon.
He does want Brogdon. Hey, I'm a down for Brogdon. It's just that you are going to have to sacrifice Kyle Anderson, which apparently everybody in chat is very okay with. So
yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of mostly a lateral move, but just like a positional shift, I think.
Yeah.
And you know, honestly, slow-mo off the bench at the 3 is worse than starting at the 4. Like slow-mo starting at the 4 is great in my opinion. But anyways, moving on because we have to, because we should. A loss like this really stings. Anthony Edwards. Usually we end with you, but we're gonna keep going up the list here. 36 minutes, 22 points, 9 for 18 from the floor. Not bad, right? Not bad stat wise. However, it didn't feel like his stats mattered at all because they happened only in really 2 quarters. Where when he was not involved, he was absolutely Wiggins tier, sitting in the corner with his hands on his fucking ass, man. He was like not there. He was clearly hobbled. He was not healthy, and we should not have been playing him. It was clearly shouldn't have played him. He was out there, and despite everything, I thought he gave it a good shot, good outing, good like effort, but not enough to a point where he was a Wancho. Like he played himself out of like any sort of role tonight, and then he was actively taking the game away from others who had it going. You know?
Yes, I agree. What was your grade? Did you say Wancho?
I called him David a Cho tier.
Yeah, Cho tier. Yeah. I might be there. I mean, it's either D'Lo or Wancho for me. I like you're right. The stats say that he did okay, but like he did take away from others, as you say. I mean, really, those ISOs late in the game, you know, his shot doesn't look right. It's less of like his actual skill, I think, at this moment. And I you know, maybe this is hopeful and wishful thinking, which sounds crazy to say about an injury. But I really do hope that he's injured, because if he's not injured and not severely hampered by something right now, um, it is wildly concerning that he is laboring down the court every play like this as a 22-year-old that isn't really even relied upon for the only scoring in the game, because we have Carl Anthony Towns. Mike Conley shows up every once in a while. We have Jaden. Like, we have players that can contribute. It's not like he's leading his own team. It's concerning. I don't know. It's super concerning. I think I'm closer to a Wancho than I am a D'Lo, so I think I'm gonna go with the good old Cho.
Good old show for our boy with the colorways matching
Which,
our away
by the
jerseys
way,
at home.
I
They are great.
love those shoes. Yeah, those shoes are so nice.
You know.
But
And I think got a technical in like classic Ant
that
fashion
too.
where he's bitching and moaning at the
That's
refs. I think
right.
it even tanks his value even further right now.
Yeah,
He only got to the line three times, really.
yeah.
Man,
Forget anything I said about considering D'Lo. I forgot about that. That was gross. There was, I hate to use this word, marginal contact on that play, and it's just like we can't be arguing that much about a play that really wasn't that bad in a late game situation too. Like, it's just like Jaden the other day, or whenever that was, weeks ago probably now, but where he gets the technical. It was against the Lakers late in the game, and it's like we had the game, and then he gets a technical, and then the Lakers are able to come back and tie the game with like 2 seconds left. So just dumb. Um,
dude, honestly, I feel like I've come on board with the idea of resting if you're hobbled at all. It's a long ass season. The playoffs matter so much more than game
mhm,
47, right? Like,
I know.
rest. Pride is not part of this equation at all. You said
Yeah,
something that you might even like regret saying, if like, oh, if you are even hurt, play because the fans came out to play, like watch you play. That's 100%
yeah,
fact and accurate, and we would love to see you play. We don't want to
yeah,
see you actually play hobbled and exacerbate injuries. And
yeah,
this is like a plea to our front court. Just say, hey, Ant can't play for the next couple of games because he doesn't look like himself. When he scores
yeah.
8 points in a game, when he scores 6 points in a game, there's probably a reason why he's not actually that
Mhm.
active and aggressive. There's a reason why in the first quarter he was like even less of a decoy. He was just not at all engaged, and he's hobbled. He's
Yeah.
clearly hurt, and don't make him available. Don't make Finch make wrong decisions by having him be
Yeah.
available.
Yeah, don't let ants, because like the players are all the time going to advocate for themselves. So they are always going to want to play. They're always, like we're talking about this like Embiid situation generally about like, oh, he has to play 65 games to be considered for like MVP or whatever, which is just dumb. Like, we shouldn't be having these conversations. And this is such a longer conversation about this, but recently I've started to wonder. I've really liked an 82 game season, but like I am starting to wonder, you know, do we need to have less games in the season? Like, do we need to have like significantly less games? I don't know. So it's just something I've thought about more and more as we have these stupid injury conversations about, like Kawhi and Paul George doing load management for years, basically. And like, now we have the Embiid situation, and then he got hurt. And like, of course, the injury was more of a freak play, but he still was playing through like injuries apparently just to get to 65 games. There's so many different things. It's a boring conversation, but that's a great off-season content. That is off-season content, which we have so much planned, by the way. Subscribe. Um, yeah.
Whew, I don't know what's happening in chat right now. Let's move on. Be respectful of everyone, please, even those who are not amongst us anymore. All right, so Jaden McDaniels, 32 minutes, 10 points, 4 assists. He hit 2 threes, especially one that was pretty timely, especially when we weren't getting anything going offensively. At least he hit a three at one point in the game to keep us at least at with arm's reach of taking this game, right? Really, he was right there for us. No one else was. However, 5 fouls, including in a very egregious one. I
Yeah.
love it when Jaden is aggressive. I love it when he gets like hit the ball in motion and in flow. When we have flow, when we have motion, when we have the ball moving, that's great. When we just literally are isoing and freezing him out of the game, we expect him to be great. I don't think so. It's like not fair to him. However, this was pretty awful. Like he was great defensively for the most part. but like the ticky tack foul started to creep up on him, and then he had a terrible take foul that was like, "What are you doing? We are in the bonus. This is not the
Yeah.
thing to do." It was a terrible play from everyone, not just him. That very really crazy. If you go back and watch that effort, no one knew what they were doing. Even Gobert was like, "I don't know where I'm supposed to be," and yeah, it was awful. I don't know where to grade him. I want to put him D-Lo though, because like I just thought like he didn't give us the best amount, like the
Yeah.
winning plays when it mattered. He was literally giving the game away.
I think his fourth quarter hurt us, and I don't know what his fourth quarter stats ended up being, but I just remember like two specific misses that he had. One that was like pretty early in the shot clock, and then I think he had a pretty costly turnover too to try to get it to like Gobert or somebody. And it's just like we just don't know how to pass like in the interior. Only Towns knows how to do that on our team. Only
Yeah,
Towns.
you're right.
And that hurts. The foul hurts. This is just one of those games where it felt like late he could have really won the game for us. Really, he had some shots, he had some good looks too,
Mm.
and he's just not making them. That happens. So I don't want to put like all the blame on McDaniels, of course, but if we're grading him on a nightly basis, which we are right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
I do think that I'm probably closer to you with a D-Lo. So I don't know.
Jorge Johnson says Glenn Taylor. Dude, that fourth quarter was awful. It was abysmal, and it's so much a part of our DNA to start slow, to struggle to score in moments where it gets tight. That doesn't really bode well for us in the playoffs, man. Like when it gets tight, when people are obviously going to double and hurry up, and when people are clearly going to, and easily, by the way, push
Yeah.
Cat into positions where he can't excel.
Mhm.
Like, where do we go to? How can we like get easy offense? In the first quarter, it was Conley and Gobert completely kicking ass, taking over the game, being like, "This is the Conley of yore. This is like the Gobert of like, you know, getting snubbed, right? He was like showing up. He was going to score 62 fucking points, right? Like, I don't know, man. It's like times like this where I'm just like, yes, like we can be excited, but like curb some of that enthusiasm sometimes. Season 11, the final season, like curb some of that enthusiasm because this is also what we show up with on nights like this. Um, Carl Anthony Towns, we just started
We
talking
didn't
about
grade
him.
him, did we? Or did we just yeah. So what is it? D'Lo or Wancho?
Yes. If we had Google Slides, I would blow them up and put them in both.
Yeah. I mean, Sabrina just said Wancho, and Sabrina is like the biggest
Whoa.
supporter of Jaden. So
Yeah,
that kind of is crazy.
it hurts me, man. I'm such a stand for Jaden McDaniels, but yeah, man. I don't know. Sometimes he has that puppy dog look where he's like, "What did I do?"
Yeah,
And
I
it's like,
know.
I think you should know by now. You're whatever you're in.
Yeah.
You're a foul prone, and they're gonna call those nonsense fouls on you. Maybe you did touch him on the hip. Maybe you did like push
Yeah.
yourself into them. It's hard to defend in the NBA, and you're killing at it, but you're also doing the easy things that get you out of the game, right? So I don't know, man. Uh, when we
Yep.
want to, we can be a fucking fantastic team.
Oh yeah, we can be where we actually are in the standing. Like we can be that level team if we all actually turn it on and give effort.
Mhm.
Um, but at the same time, you kind of need to have that for many games in a row so that you can get a trend and understand like how each other work in those moments. Because if you all just turn it on at one moment, like let's say the playoffs, you might not have everything figured out at that moment. So I don't know. Charlie Barley, when in doubt, listen to Sabrina. That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
Carl Anthony Towns, 7 for 17 from the floor. Oof, that's pretty ugly. 19 points, 3 rebounds. Oof, that's not enough from our all-star
Yeah, that's bad.
player. 6 assists. Ooh, ooh, I can't
6
talk less
assists.
about that.
You mean
What did I
turnovers,
say?
right?
6 turnovers. That's what I said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then also 2 for 7 from 3, which is Jaden McDaniels level, which is also Anthony Edwards level, which is basically Mike Conley level. You should be the better version of all of that from 3.
Yeah.
All right, so pretty ridiculous output from Cat. However, it did start like he was looking like he was going to play a great game, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
was. Go ahead.
Early, I thought this was gonna be like, okay, this is Carl has had a lot of good games now, and he's just gonna be it was again the Carl where it's like he's just getting buckets that he wants to get. It's the thing that I keep talking about. he in the beginning of the game, he was taking threes aggressively. I liked that and hitting some. And then he was also when he was driving, he was hitting some shots there. And I was just like, okay, this is that Towns that we're gonna have tonight, where Towns is probably gonna win us this game. And Ant's gonna look like a failure, and everybody else is gonna look not so good, but Towns will keep us there. And then I think Isaac just got under his skin and it like completely ruined the entire flow of the game.
You're right. I think you're absolutely right on that. And I really have nothing else to say about that. I thought he got really under his skin. I think he played himself out of the game in a lot of ways. He looked great in the first half, even though he didn't really like take over the game by any means. He just looked great. He played a role
Yeah.
that I thought was he passed happily passed, and he got Conley the hockey he played a lot of hockey assists in like Conley's favor. And like in the third quarter, he popped off for 10 points, which is okay, I suppose. And we started to build a lead, back, and it was like an 8 to 10 point game. And then something happened in the fourth quarter. Cat on the court, Ant on the bench, Conley on the bench. No offense whatsoever to be found. Cat got a couple offensive fouls. In fact, turnover as well, and the lead was shattered in the moment of just 2 minutes. When I was praising Finch for the first quarter kind of substitution rotations to keep a Cat or Gobert out there all the time, to have Ant or Nas out there, just like a burst of offense out there. The fourth quarter was way the opposite of what I was expecting, and it was just once again like, who are the pieces that we could fit in the fourth quarter? Well, Cat really struggled in that fourth quarter, and I don't know. It's just like a Jekyll and Hyde situation where I thought he was great, and I thought he was absolutely the opposite as well. And I want to say meh, I want to say D'Lo, I want to say Watcher, I want to say all these things. So I don't know what to really grade him.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I think I'm probably a D'Lo. I don't know if I can go as far as Wancho tonight, because I do think that he had some redeeming qualities in the beginning of the game, um, but it is also concerning. I mean, you could like somebody based off of our grading scale, somebody could argue Glenn Taylor because he did some of the same like stuff that we've seen for not just games, years. Like we've seen this like stray voltage happen a lot over his career, and to have it still be an issue at times, given this year has been much better, much better. It's still just as like you can't afford to have that. Um, and yeah, I mean, 7 of 17 isn't the worst, but it's certainly not good. And it's going to be hard to win if one of your best two players is going to be shooting like that. So I think I'm D'Lo. I think I'm D'Lo. But somebody could definitely probably convince me to go on show. Everybody's saying D. Okay.
I hope we're in unison that we just want to see the best out of these players. We want to see the best out of Cat. We want
Yeah.
to see the best out of Ant. We're not like ridiculing him and criticizing him for everything. We are just seeing trends and tendencies, and we are being critical of the fact that like we could have easily stomped the Magic out of this building, man. We built a 17-point lead, playing decently, not the
Yeah.
best,
Yeah.
but playing decently and efficient defensively. Like we were playing branded basketball, and then something happened. The switch turned off, and now you're playing flow and free, and you can make your emojis and emote out on the court. And it really is like, okay, Orlando's seeing that and be like, we just keep playing, we'll chip away, and we no lead is safe
Yeah.
in the NBA, and you can't get excited about a 10-point lead when the game is the season, NBA as a whole is all about the flows and streaks and waves, right? Man.
How many shots did Cat take in the fourth? Do you have that stat?
Okay. I know he was 1 for 5 in the second quarter, which was ass, and in the fourth quarter himself, 1 for 3.
Yikes. That is bad.
Team worst, -10 plus or minus, which isn't like whatever. I don't really need to address that, but it's just like no, he was out there for a large part of it.
He was.
All right, wherever we graded him is where we graded him. However, I think we are also going to be on the same page here with Rudy Gobert, who I left for last. And I also feel like maybe I'm going to sing his praises a bit too much on a game where we lose by just a small margin. But I think he absolutely killed it tonight.
I know he did. He did.
I thought he was on a bum ankle. What? If I hear bum ankle, I'm like, don't play for a week. Like for Rudy Gobert specifically, because our DNA goes out the window when he's not out there. When we saw a sub in for like a slow mo for Gobert or Nas for Gobert, like, oh, holy crap, our defense takes a giant step back, and we are forced to play different coverages. And Gobert is our DNA, deep DNA. I thought he was deserving of the All Star over both of them, and it feels like he showed it out tonight. 22 points, 16 rebounds, 10 for 11 from the fucking free throw line, man. Like,
what the hell? That's crazy.
And he was the only one I thought who gave a fuck on defense tonight.
Yeah,
I really strongly think that him and Na were like the only two dudes, and I guess Slow-Mo to an extent, that really cared on that end. I thought like everyone else was just flat-footed, slow, and almost unavailable on the other end. So much had to become of Gobert. This is an A. I want to give him an A plus, but I can't because they don't have it. We don't exist on our tier list. I want to give him a Gobert tier because for the season he's been remarkable. For his career, he's been outstanding. And tonight, it just shows that like just a couple more like screws tightened in our heads, and we win this game by 20.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, that's what's infuriating about this is that sure it was a close game, and one shot falls at the end, like one of those Jaden open threes or something like that, and maybe we win the game. But like if we really just improved on some of the stuff that we talked about today, this is literally a 20-point blowout, like where it's not close. Maybe it's even like 30, and then we're playing Troy Brown Jr., Luka Garza, and whoever for the last 5 minutes. Who knows? We don't know actually because we didn't get to see that. But
that happened also, David. I agree. And then also, Disco says he wasn't an A. He was a B. He dropped 15 passes. That is
a regular occurrence for him now, unfortunately, which is valid. That's a valid criticism. But I think he also was given, like Ashton said earlier, he was given a lot of lobs in places where he doesn't have opportunities to mess it up. Like he's got it, and there's really only one option. It's not like he has to go reach back for it far. It's just at the rim. Just basically grab it and hold on. That's it.
This is a funny comment. We're bottom like 6, I think, in the NBA in offensive rating, and our two scorers got the All-Star nod, and our defense, which is our identity-defying trait right now. And Ant plays defense when he wants to, when it's those very meaningful plays, which I give him so much credit for. But I wish he was on all the time. But sometimes he takes plays off. It's okay. I don't care. I'm not too critical about that. But like Cat, he's playing better defensively, but he's also a turnstile on defense just as much. It's hilarious. I think Gobert needed to have been the All-Star and not necessarily Ant and Cat tonight this year. But I digress. I don't know if I agree with Begas and Disco Wolf tonight. It's okay. It's okay. I hope it's okay that I'm disagreeing with you, and I hope that we can kind of come to an agreement that he's just been remarkable for us, and it's kind of like not just a game kind of grade for me tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to look it up because we've talked about it a bit tonight. I want to see because we are still offensive rating or defensive rating wise still number one, and we're probably just going to end number one. We're ahead by like 2 full points. Offensive rating, we are 19th. So not the bottom, but the bottom half for sure.
But that changed. The last I looked, it was because of the game we just played against Dallas without fucking anyone, right? We had like a 40-point game. Our rating went skyrocket because of that.
That is true. It definitely did skyrocket. I wish I could go back like a day and see what that happens. But Sabrina, shout out. I've never seen this color shown up on our screen before. You've been a member for a month. 18th best offense. Oh, hey, there you go, right there. Net rating 6. That's fantastic. But yeah. I think I actually was listening to the Dane Moore live, and I saw many of you guys in the chat the other day there. I appreciate that. But they kind of came up with a good point of like, if the Timberwolves just like eliminated some of the turnovers that they're doing, like a couple turnovers a game, their offensive rating would probably bump them up like so significantly. And there's some truth to that because we are like so much of our offense is just bad turnovers right now. And then the other part of it is like lack of ball movement at times. So like if we could just, be a little bit better, then both our offense and our net rating would, I mean, we'd be looking real good. And if we're top 10 in both, that feels good. But thanks, Sabrina, for being a member.
You got to feed the beast. I think it was really interesting that we took a lot of notes from prior games and tried to emphasize getting Gobert going early. I think it does actually feed into him playing better, playing more alert, and that's what I feel like with every player. You get him going, you get him juiced, and pops off for those runs that are like Steph Curry, where he pops off for 10 points in 10 seconds. And you're like, holy crap, that's our all-star, that's our player of the decade. You got to feed them when they're hot. You got to make them go. And yeah, that's what we maybe started to do. But also, maybe he looked better because everyone else looked like ass. That's another great point by JJ. And then finally, I just thought great observations from the chat. I just think late the Butterfinger hands, the pickleball boards for his hands. We can't rely on him. And Orlando even fed into it by sagging off on him to try to get the ball to him, and Ant was reluctant to even pass to him. It's our game plan, our structured offense is so remarkably lazy, and we can be planned for, and we don't have a switch hitter. We don't have a plan B. It's Cat or Ant. Please take over the game, push a button, do something, because we can't have slow-mo anywhere in the end of the game. And Gobert can't do anything other than dunk with two hands, so there's a lot of problems that still need to be corrected, and I don't know if it's going to be corrected anytime soon. And I also don't feel like these are the players that are going to be oh, I have something else in my bag. Let me just start throwing that out there,
I'm sure Towns could find something else in his tool belt or whatever.
Oh, I don't worry, but I just, I respect you guys so much that I just don't want to, cause any sort of ooh, I don't align with these guys anymore. Peace out, and let's join. No, there's no one else. You're stuck with us.
There is nobody else. Yeah.
We love you too.
No. Yeah. We had some disagreements with people on Twitch in the past, and that led to angry DMs and leaving of the comments. So that was not what we wanted. Also, JJ, yes, I saw Cooper. I was surprised Cooper was even putting your comments up on screen at times, but then he would just immediately take it away. That was pretty funny. I wish I could see Cooper's mind when he's doing that. That's hilarious.
You want to see Cooper's mind? We should just invite him on the show and be like, hey, man.
I need to get Cooper on the show. Cooper needs to come back on the show. He's been getting some banger tweets lately, too. He was on a hiatus of Twitter for a long time. And then he came back and he's got 600 tweet, 1,000 tweet. It's crazy. So
maybe he tried the Mastodon and the Threads and the Blue Sky and was like, oh, man, I got to come back there. I got to come back home.
Seems like Blue Sky, yeah.
Maybe even Facebook. He had him for a moment. I don't know. Guys, we're going to lose games like this. Maybe on the regular, and that sucks. To be a top-seeded team and lose games like this. I started to truly fucking believe. Sorry for swearing. I truly started to believe in this team because we started being clutch. We started to close games in these weird moments of the games where we had a lead. We lost it, but we are clutching out these teams because we have Ant-Man to close the game, and we have sensational defense to basically get teams out of their comfort zone. Well, that lasted about 25 games. That lasted the preseason and the kind of early season where everyone's kind of learning themselves and game planning just for themselves, not against the opponent, right? Lessons learned from training camp, deploy them, employ them, restructure that and figure out our lineups. Now the Clippers are rolling. Now the Denver Nuggets are we're back, baby. And now the Knicks with OG Anunoby, I know he's injured. I know Julius Randle's injured. They're rolling, right? These teams have figured themselves out, and now it's harder to game plan against them. What have we done?
Yeah.
What have we done to change our identity, to not just our identity, to flourish at the top? We have won close games, sometimes with players that are not, or with teams without their star players. We have lost games against teams not at full strength, the Dallas and the San Antonios and stuff like that. It's just crazy, right? This team is wild. We're so hungry as fans to see something of success, right? To be so excited for and say, hey, yeah, you suck, Milwaukee. We're the we're the Midwest Kings. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just basically saying we are trying to grab on the teat of success. Whoa. And we're not there yet. We have so much more to grow.
Um,
Cooper had a show called Timberwolves Daily, Jessica Wolf, and it was Timberwolves Daily, then became Timberwolves Weekly, then became Timberwolves Never Again.
Shout out Cooper.
Shout out to Cooper.
Um,
I love that dude, and I really
oh
wish
yeah,
like
but
I think he
that did
was like
happen.
I
But
think he lives in Duluth, and I was like, damn, that sucks. You can only really attend one game a month.
yeah,
I wish he was like in Minneapolis to like really
I
like
know.
be a
It
part
felt
of the
like he could
success.
because his show is growing like big time, especially like last year, or was it last year? Or I don't even remember. Um, but no, we got to get Cooper on the show sometime.
Do it.
For sure. There will be one day where you're not here, and I'll try to get him here. Um, but yeah, we'll get him on the show. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, coming up this month. You know, the good news
Shout
for
out Cooper.
everybody. If we want some good news, and yes, he is helping him with Dane. So like, or he's helping Dane because Dane doesn't really know social media that well. So like Dane knows almost nothing about YouTube, at least from what I gather and listening to him.
Dane gets
Um,
defensive.
yeah, yeah, like, we've got some
Hi, Dane.
podcaster beef going on. But we should do a boxing match. No, I was kidding. That's what all the podcasters do. For charity. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Anyways, the next 2 months honestly don't look super daunting. You know, we had that really daunting stretch. I think it was December into January. But no, it's okay. We next week we play the Houston Rockets, the Bulls, and then we do play Fear the Deer, the Bucks.
Crazy.
um, but then we have a game. I mean, the Clippers is a bad game, but then we have 2 games in a row against Portland, which should be winnable games. You know, it's just not the same really bad stretch. And then also another great thing is we have All-Star break coming up. You know, so that's going to be a lot of time off for most of our guys, and probably Chris Finch. But then when we come home, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games at home in a row after the All-Star break. So people can really just hunker down in Minnesota. I mean, they're probably going to go on vacation if I'm being honest. But, you know, once they get back, we're going to have a lot of time at home to kind of calm down, relax, and hopefully get some good footing going into this. Well, it's not really the second half of the season, but, you know, the second half of the season. And maybe get a good streak going again. You know, I have belief that we will. Of course, there's some things that I'm concerned about right now, but that doesn't mean that can't change. So cool. Keep the one. Yeah. What does Jack Carlson say? Keep the 1 through 4 seed. Stay healthy. Lock in come playoff time. We will be all right. This is there. There's a damn good team in there somewhere. I think that's where I am. If we can stay 1 through 4, I think and get like home court advantage in the playoffs. I'm feeling pretty good. And also, again, if we go back to like our preseason like predictions, we should go back and like react to our preseason predictions and see what we said because I don't even remember now. But I know it wasn't first place in the West or even close to first place in the West by then. I
We
think
were.
we did mention first place as a possibility,
Mhm.
but it was certainly not like, hey, we're going to be first place. I don't think. I could be wrong. Well, I guess everybody's going to have to go back and watch. um,
Shout out to Dane Moore, but shout out to the Nuggets for like they had the impossible task of like the Golden State Warriors, where they're like Monte Morris, I think, or or Steph Curry, and they picked Curry, and the Nuggets were like Jokic, who's off the bench, or Nurkic, who's killing it, and they're like, you know what, we're gonna go with Jokic.
yeah,
Crazy, just
yeah,
fucking crazy.
it is crazy.
That's
Big
like
picture.
Wiggins or Josh Okogie. Like that's our
Yeah,
level. Like, ooh, we picked
that's
Wiggins.
yeah. That picture you sent earlier today of KG talking to Wiggins and
That was the
Towns.
maybe
And
next year quote, man. That was the maybe
yes,
next year quote.
what a god, what a bad mentality. Um, let's see. Big picture, who's going to be upset if we only win a playoff series? Oh, if we win a series, I mean, I'll probably be upset. It depends on where we are, who we're going up against. But like, if we win at least one playoff series, that's progress, you know, and I might not be like super, super happy, but I think I can't allow myself to get too mad if we win one playoff series, don't win the next. Like, I think I have to be accepting of that. But
Crone also asked a question about, are you surprised about our offensive rating being 19th?
I mean,
Like,
yeah, I mean, coming into the year, I would have thought it was flipped. I would have thought we would have been one of the better offenses. We have a lot of like talented play. I mean, Towns and Ant alone being on the team together, it seems like that should be a pretty high offensive team if you're just thinking about it in like a 2K mindset or like, something like that. But even though we have Rudy, I would not have expected us to be a top. Like that was never something that I would have considered. I would have thought we had decent defense, but maybe like 10 through 15 defense, but I don't know. Definitely not this low for offense.
I would have never expected the Rockets to trade for Steven Adams.
Yeah, that was a weird move. And I don't understand any of it. Sabrina with the super chat. Breaking news: Wolves second seed because OKC has better division. That's why they're second. I saw that and I was like confused by that. But Wolves have the tiebreaker for All-Star coach because of better conference record.
Relevant.
What is this
We're relevant again.
So only Sabrina would know this. Sabrina,
that's amazing. Holy crap! How do you find things?
Shout out. That's crazy.
Everyone's gonna be mad about whatever happens. Actually, that's a
David
great comment.
That is very true. Thank you, Sabrina, for the super chat. Seriously.
Yeah, sorry.
But David, that is 100% true. And you know where they're going to be? They're going to be right here after Game 5. And we're going to be there too. But I think it's acceptable to be sad for one day, but then move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like it's more of an all-in year than people imagine and think and say, hey, growth is growth and it's going to be great for next year. Holy crap. I don't want to think about next year. I really don't. I want this year to be as best as possible. And one series might not be good enough for me.
This might be the first time as a Timberwolves fan I've never really actively thought about the next season. Like typically, even when we've played well, like even when we went to play Memphis in the playoffs, I was still thinking of the next season. Like I wasn't thinking so much of that season. Like I had belief that we could maybe somehow figure out a way to get even deeper in the playoffs. But I mean, we basically won all the games against Memphis. But no, I have not really thought that much about next season. What are you laughing at?
It's just saying that out loud and be like, yes. I like that. I was thinking about this the other day. Who are our assets? Just that one video got you sold, man. I know that, but like
it really did.
Who are the assets? But if it's not Kyle Anderson, because everyone else above him in the rotation, at least that's in our eyes, probably borderline untradeable. I think we need to be all in with the pieces we have. We can't completely shift now. But Troy Brown has no value. Shake Milton has negative value. Like everyone else.
I mean, it depends on how crazy you want to go. Because sure, like we could start talking Jaden, we could start talking Towns, we could start talking Nah. But like out of the players that we think would be more likely to be traded at this deadline, there's none. The asset is the second round picks that we have. Because the second round picks, especially, and this is again, I learned this from watching Dane yesterday. I forgot that our what was it? Our second round pick is one of them is from Memphis, and Memphis is going to suck this year. So Memphis is going to be possibly a top, like at least top 10 pick, if not top 5 pick in the second round. So it's borderline a first round pick. So like that's a valuable thing for a lot of teams. So really, it just comes down to how much salary are you willing to give up, and plus your second round picks for whoever. Because like the news came out today that the Wizards were previously looking for a first round pick for Tyus, but now they might be okay with some second round picks. But it's like, okay, but then that means he makes 14 million. So then we have to give up slow-mo and then have to is like a weird word, but like money wise to make it work, we're going to have to give up slow-mo and another player. And then all of our second round picks probably. So it's like, is that something worth it? I don't know. But I really don't know. And just listening to Tim Connolly earlier today did not seem like that was a possibility. He didn't specifically name drop anybody, obviously, But just listening to him, it seemed like it was much more similar to what we were kind of talking about when we were talking about trades. It seems like buyouts might be a little bit more possible, or players that are super under the radar, or that could be like traded somehow with like a second and shake or something like that to like just as a swap of a player for nothing for no reason, and then just get the second round pick for that team. I don't know, but goodbye Minot and Moore. Well, Moore is like yikes.
Who are we reaching for? We got that Italian point guard, right? Spagnolio or
Yes.
I don't know who I'm talking about anymore. And Balmaro's out of the league already. Like that sucks, right? Are we great at picking picks? I don't know, but like who was Gerson Rosas, and shout out to Gerson Rosas, who was shouted out by Jim Pete on the latest Flagrant House podcast, who was on that show, and he talked about Gerson Rosas. And then Gerson Rosas is on the Knicks, and the Knicks are kind of killing it right now with all those moves they made recently. Coincidence?
Don't
Shout out to Gerald, who believed in Gerson Rosas.
He was just gonna say that. I was gonna say, don't tell Gerald, because I was like, oh man, Gerald loved. And honestly, like before all the weird stuff came out, I did too, because he made some good moves for us, and it seemed like we were moving in the right direction. So
there's a moment I think we were like bottom barrel of the league in the NBA. I think we had this was the Saunders years. What's his son's name? Shit. Ryan Saunders. And we were making like Gerson Rosas like Photoshop memes.
That's like, right. They were like Valentine's cards and stuff like that. Gerald.
Anywho, and like we have Leonard Miller, we have all these Minots and Moores, and what the fuck are they gonna give us in value? And like Luka Garza is just like this Energizer bunny that will just not play because we need to blow out a team by 40 to like let them go. I don't know. It's like so stupid. So we should trade these players. We're not going to actually develop or use them in an NBA game, and maybe we'll get something. I don't think we're going to get much of anything for these guys, though.
Yeah, I struggle.
And what's a second round pick going to get us? Like, dude, a weak ass draft coming up, and we're not going to get like a Nikola Pekovic. We're not going to get like a, right? I don't know who we're going to get on the second round. And
I mean, I'm a very bad.
Like Finch is not even playing rookies, right?
Yeah, true. I mean, that's a super valid point. I don't know anything about really the draft class, to be honest with you, but I just know that with the way contracts and like the CBA and everything is structured and the salary cap, these second round picks, it's going to be valuable to have second round picks for especially these teams that are going all in, like us or the Lakers or, other teams that maybe don't have, like, for example, the Lakers are in a really bad situation because they just don't have many picks, and they have to hit on some of these like second round picks that they have, because they don't have a first, or I mean, they have a first every other year, but like they don't have tradable assets. So they absolutely need to hit on all their draft picks, basically. So trading your draft picks to a team like that, the problem is that too many teams are in contention right now. So like, you look at the standings and it's like, I mean, who is tanking right now? I mean, like Houston has all these like news things coming out where they're like, Houston's like, we're going to win now. We want to win a championship this year. So we're willing to part with Jalen Green or whatever. And it's like, you're 12th. And you're saying we're going all in. So like, where is the team that's like tanking? It's maybe like San Antonio, but San Antonio, are they going to give up somebody like Doug McDermott? I don't know. So there's just a lot of weirdness when it's like that. I don't know what possibilities there are. More and more that time goes on, it just seems like we're not going to do anything. We're just going to keep those picks, maybe try to hit on something, but like, I don't know. Well, I don't have anything else.
Yeah, we shouldn't have anything else. We are up. We're keeping you guys up way too late, past everyone's bedtime. It's an 80-minute show. What are we doing here? We just lost a game against the Orlando Magic. Let's recap the entire game. I don't know.
It's so funny when we do this. We do streams for as long as the games were. Yeah. Like the game was literally probably like 2 hours and like 10 minutes, and we're we're getting close. Yeah. Oh well. Okay.
With all of you guys, it was a very live show tonight, and
yes,
I think it just shows the fucking amount of care we have for this team. Like, we show out when the team wins, loses, it doesn't matter. We are so passionate about this team, and we're seeing like a reason to be passionate this year. Like it's going to reward us, hopefully. But maybe we should like let our guard down, be relaxed a little bit. It's just the middle of the season. They don't care about us. They just want to, get their money and get on with their lives. But like maybe they also give a shit about basketball. They give a shit about the state of Minnesota and Lake Minnetonka and Young Gravy in those uniforms.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I like that. That should have been our show tonight. Begus, why aren't you our like?
Yeah,
host?
Begus, you get the next loss. Okay, next time we lose, you go live.
Yeah.
Because we just elaborated for 85 minutes on literal crap.
Dude, we did this 5 years ago when we were absolute dog shit.
Yeah, that was the worst. Cool. Well, before you guys leave a like on the stream, subscribe if you aren't already. What's our new goal? I don't even know. Like 1,500 or something like that.
Yeah, man.
1,500. I feel like that's good. I mean, we just hit 1,000 not that long ago, and we're already at like 100 or like not 100. We're at like 38 over, so we're like 1,038 or something like that. That's pretty good. I appreciate all you guys for joining. We try to keep it real, try to interact with chat as much as we can. But I appreciate Crone for the gifted, Sabrina for the super chat, Sabrina for also becoming a member or being a member for the second month, your highlight or whatever it's called. And all of you guys that are members. Seriously, I appreciate it. It's good stuff.
And all of you that aren't, it's the same.
And all of you that aren't, and all of you that made it through the ads on the stream. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
I think there were ads run tonight. I'm not 100% certain. If they were, let me know. If you liked them, let me know. If you bought something, it doesn't affect us probably at all. But anyways, 52 wins is still possible, JJ. I like that optimism out of you. Intro as the outro? Outro as the intro? I see somebody say that every time when we start the stream now. We will see you. Oh, yeah, Sunday? Yeah, Sunday evening. See ya.